Africa. Very glad to have you again for another interesting session on Tech Grounds. And guess what we're discussing? We're discussing the digital inclusion and the digital economy. So, how are you leveraging online? So, we've gone past the years where online was strange for everyone. So, we're now talking about how people can leverage the platform they have, the skills they have to make money. So, did you know that digital skills are currencies themselves? So, these are one of the things we are going to be discussing today. And of course, with me in the studio is Chioma Ukpabi, who will be doing justice to this topic. So Chioma, hi Chioma, how are you doing?
Hi, Emmanuel. Hi, it's really great to be here.
Those skills. So it has become more crucial than ever to build online presence and value altogether, connecting with people, working virtually and everywhere in the world. So you don't need to be physically present in any way to add value. You just need your device. You just need a network and enabling tools to help you leverage every platform. So we're going to look at how it is important in the society for everyone to have access to digital literacy, to tools and platforms that would help them to be more and do more. Who is Choma and where are you seeing adding value?
My name is Chioma Ukpabi, and I am the executive director and founder of Skill Up with Katso, SUWK, just like Emmanuel said.
Okay.
Uh, and SUWK is a social tech startup, and we're on a mission to actually empower young people from underserved communities by bridging the gap of skills acquisition and economic opportunities. So, yes, so that's a brief about me and SUWK.
That's really interesting, Choma. Thank you very much for that brief introduction. So
Thank
I
you.
believe Choma is no more strange to us. So we know everything about Choma. Choma is a founder. Choma is a social technology entrepreneur. Yeah, and she's here to add value. All right. So for our discussion today, we are set to explore the vital intersection of digital inclusion and the digital economy. So when you talk about the digital economy, a lot of things come to play. The way we pay, finance, working, connection, and everything, e-commerce, everything is involved in digital economy. So it's not about offline now. We're majorly in an online world. Everything goes on in the internet, applications, softwares, tools, data, and everything. So life has really been made easy. But if you're looking at it, not everyone is leveraging these changes, this transition. Okay, there has been a paradigm shift in the way work is being done, and that is what we've termed as the future of work. But if you're looking at the future of work, do we have many people onboarded for the future of work? And that is the question today. Shoma, what views do you hold
Okay.
about entrepreneurship, especially when it comes to technology?
Well, that question is actually very interesting because I believe that technology is supposed to be for good. It's supposed to be used for good. Growing up, I remember in primary school, secondary school, they always talk about the harm of technology and all. Most times they always try to, put out the disadvantages of technology, how it's opening our eyes and exposing us. And I'm really excited that a lot of people right now are using technology for good. We're seeing people, trying to utilize technology to make transportation easy for people. We're seeing people use technology to make health, better for people that don't have access to some kind of health needs. And it's really exciting. And for me, I feel like for what I do with SUWK, it's so interesting to know that we need to now, utilize the the use of technology so that we can actually reach more people. Because right now, most of the things I mentioned earlier, a lot of people might have access to it, but there are some people that have not properly known how to utilize it, right? And again, for
Yeah.
SUWK, we're now helping these young people to access economic opportunities that on a normal day they wouldn't have accessed because they don't really understand how technology works. So I feel like for me, viewing it as in general, right? I feel like technology is supposed to be used for good, and I'm seeing people do great things. So yeah, so the future is actually bright with the use of technology.
Quite interesting. All right, Choma. So looking at the social tech entrepreneurship, why do you think that digital inclusion is a very important aspect of adding value in that sector?
I said, so what we do at SUWK is now help these young people to access these trainings, because we notice that most people are about making life better for people that really understand what the evolution is about. You know, people are in the fast pace of wanting to download the apps and all, but we're really neglecting those people that are underserved, that don't really have access to these opportunities. So we decided that there is a huge market here, there is a very untapped potential. Why don't we go and skill up these young people with vital skills that they could use to, better themselves? Because the future of work is really amazing. Things that are happening in future is actually going to be mind blowing, and we need everybody's hands to be on there. Recently, I was at the SDG program, and I discovered that we just have 7 years to actually make sure that our 2030 SDG goals are being, are
Yeah.
being seen happening. And it's so funny that we are still way behind in Africa. Some continents are actually doing better, but we're still way behind in Africa. And I think it's time for us to really go to those untapped people markets and now really bring them into the space so that we can get to our goals faster. And we discovered that there's also like a digital gap, an economic gap. And we decided that, you know what, why don't we use technology for good? Create a marketplace where these people understand themselves, and they understand what is happening, and they could start selling their skills. And since
Mm.
people are very, willing to, join the social cause, but they don't know how to, we can create an avenue for them to start patronizing these people. So I think at SUWK, that is how we've been able to, bring social entrepreneurship into the light.
Yeah, that's
Um,
that's quite interesting.
yeah.
So
So
when it comes to the pillars of digital inclusion, so we have the internet access, we have the skill and digital literacy. Before you talk about anything digital, you need to consider the internet. You need to be connected. So I believe that's the basic thing about digital inclusion. So people that are out there that are not being onboarded into the digital space, if you're checking it very well, maybe they don't have access
yeah.
to the internet. And then when you don't have access to the internet, there's no way that you can join. So one thing about leveraging digital is the fact that no matter what you're doing, you can always have an avenue to bring it up for more people to see. So when you talk about digital, you're talking of more reach, more engagement, far beyond your physical entanglements. You talked about how we are even nearing the years of achieving the SDG and Nigeria being at the forefront. I think we need to step up every effort we're doing to actually meet up the SDG goals. It's just like saying the Vision 2020. I mean, today is 2023, and if you're looking at it, a lot of the things we might not have really achieved them. So, looking at a couple of researches out there, I was able to see that about 85% of Nigerian graduates have no digital skills. That's by a survey by Get Bundy, an online education technology outfit. 85% of graduates do not have digital skills. I don't know how they are going to cope. We've seen a lot of initiatives too by global organizations and individuals trying to bring digital skills closer to the doorsteps of people. We could see Google with their initiative of Google for Africa. So Google announced just last month 1.3 billion naira grants to mind the gap, launching an initiative that aims to equip 20,000 Nigerian women and youth with vital digital skills. So these are some of the efforts that has been made to ensure that digital literacy is being promoted. So you can see that from the organizational aspect perspective and the individual perspective, that people are actually striving to bring digital literacy to the doorstep of people. But my concern also comes to the part of the individuals. You see that there are a lot of these opportunities out there, but people do not want to willingly embrace these opportunities. I know a couple of times I've addressed some people around me, hey, come on, why not get a digital skill, or why not try to do something different? And they tell you that it's very hard. I mean, nothing good comes easy, but when once you are already in the path of doing that thing, you find out that it's something that you would love doing and something that you're good at, because the world is going digital. as it is being said. What are the primary barriers to digital inclusion?
Primary barriers is the fact that these young people have limited resources and access. We as a sector and an industry, we need to, buckle up on that. I see that there are a lot of funds being, given to some organizations. I see that some access given to some organizations to, increase digital literacy and all. But I also understand that there are some things they are missing out. So I, for one, and my team go into underserved communities, and we get to see that there are some young people that are willing to learn these skills, but they don't even have the gadgets to learn these skills, right? So they don't even have the gadgets to now, okay, after they're done learning the skills, to even start selling the skills on our marketplace. So I think beyond the fact of trying to put the knowledge in these young people, we also need to start giving them access to the things they need to make sure that that knowledge is being learned every day. The knowledge is also being utilized to be able to make money for them. So I think that was like one of the challenge. First off, limited access and resources. That is what is actually
Yeah.
making this very slow. And it's time for us to move from just I see some organizations doing so well in trying to help out with those gadgets. After you're done training, you get the gadgets to be able to start working to make money. But I think we need to do more. We need to pushing our
All right.
budgets more into reaching more people. Yeah, so
Don't
yeah.
you think there is also a challenge with personal motivation from the side of individuals who are supposed to learn digital skills? You see, some people
Mm,
have this lackadaisical attitude. You know, you can't force a horse to drink water, or you can force it to the stream, but you can force it to drink water. I mean, we're living in a digital environment, in a digital
mm-hmm,
world. So
mm-hmm.
it's more like forcing people to, oh, get a digital skill when they actually know they need it. Is that other an issue?
Okay, so I think we need to have, for me, I'm always on the positive side, right? Though there are some negative sides of things, but I think I'm always on the positive side. Looking at not just SUWK as a company, right? Let's look at other organizations that go to try to reach out to these young people. The turnout, the turnout of people that actually put themselves in the forefront to want to learn are always massive. So
Oh,
so
wow.
sometimes in churches, I see some non-profit organizations trying to get to reach out, have outreaches to reach out to young people. And then when these people put out their pictures, we see the numbers. These are not Photoshop numbers. We see see them come out in their hundreds to learn. But I've been able to get, like, as I'm a grassroots person, I've been able to understand that what really makes these young people to lose interest is the fact that at the end of the day, they just feel like they're just going to sit down somewhere, or they're just going to put up their phone and just listen to someone say something, and at the end of the day, they don't know how they can utilize it. Right. So I think that's what now makes their
Okay.
interest to now drop. I see enthusiasm at the beginning and then it drops. And that was why SUWK now had to move from just having exhibitions and calling people to just come just once in a year or in a month, to now creating a marketplace where these young people know that if you don't wake up in the morning to put yourself out there, no one is going to see you. We're trying our best to put you in front of people, but we also need you to be motivated. And I think those little incentives are what makes young people to, stay active on the game. So when most organizations start putting out incentives there for these young people, because they're already underserved, they don't wake up on a normal day to see where people are giving them something, or so they need something that keeps them. It's just that in your company right now, if you give incentive to your team, everyone is wanting to be the employee of the month, right? So that is
Yeah,
also the same way these
definitely.
young people want incentives to keep them on track. When you're done, you start earning 200,000, and there are testimonials. You see, okay, this is John. John was earning nothing. John was earning 5,000, but John went through this training, and now John is using his digital skills and vocational skills to start making money. And they are seeing John. John comes to share his testimonials to these young people, and they are motivated, so they work. So these young people need to see things, because their judgments are clouded, they are confused, they are frustrated, they've lost hope. So you need to show them things and give them things that would actually keep them up. So I think for that's the answer to that particular question you just asked.
Yeah, I totally believe you when you said these young people actually need to see what they can do with the skills or with whatever they've been told, because it doesn't just end in sitting down to watch exhibitions. how can they now put into practice what they have
Mhm.
learned? When you talk about making money online, people think it's Yahoo and the rest of the stuff. How have you been able to measure your success over the years, and what would you say is the turnout, the progress you're making?
Yeah. So first of all, I would say the journey has been bumpy, right? But I think when you're very passionate and motivated about social good, it's always interesting because
Yeah,
um, you end up seeing stories that touch you and you resonate with. So I have been able to, like we already know in technology, data is power, right? So our marketplace now gives us an opportunity to know what the outcomes are, and we also get to listen to people in our community. Initially, when we first started, we just had tailoring, we had shoemaking, we didn't even have graphic designing as a then. But when we started listening to what people in the communities were saying, we understood that, oh, okay, some of them had these gadgets. They want to also learn things like UI, UX, they also want to learn photography and the rest of it. So we listen to our people in our community to know the exact vital skills they need at that moment so that we can introduce it, right? And successfully, we've been able to do this for over 800 young people who are selling and making money. Last year, while we did our financials, we figured out that we paid out about 50,000 US dollars. And it's really interesting to let you know that an average person on our marketplace earns at least $300 a month if
wow,
they actually put out their skills properly for people to see what they are doing and they are doing well. And we also understood that it's very important for them to also, apprentice under experts. So we don't just train them and certify them. We also give them an opportunity to apprentice and be mentored under these experts. So these experts keep, giving them fresh knowledge and all. And that's how we've been able to monitor our growth track because they are under this the SUWK partners where they're learning from. So we go back to monitor and evaluate their success stories and everything. And we are about feedback, right? So we get to get their feedback and know what skill at the moment is slow and know what we need to start pushing more to people and also know what to introduce to people. So far that's what we've been able to do at SUWK, and
that's
it's been
interesting.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Kudos to you, Choma. That's really a lot of work and
Thank you.
tracking what you're doing so far. So
Thank you.
you've talked about, yeah, the various skill sets you take people on for, and how you onboard them for not just the learning aspect but also the practical aspect, where they get to maybe something like an internship, or is it craftsmanship under an expert or something. So moving away from there, what are those top digital skills that people should go after in this moment?
It can be very little, but you see, graphic designing, that digital skill is very important, right? People have, tried as much as possible to say, oh, we don't need it. It's stressful, is this, but I think that particular digital skill is on the go. It's on the go. People, you can actually take it anywhere you're going to at the moment, and you're going to, make a lot of money from it. And moment, they also need to, learn more about product designing and the rest of it. But for me, what we do at SUWK is graphic designing, photography, UI, UX, and that is what has, been the top for us that most of these young people are actually making money from. So yeah, so I think those are
Yeah.
the skills. Yeah.
When it comes to transitioning to tech, a lot of people are like, I don't want to code. I don't want to code. I don't have that time. They don't want to code. They don't have the passion for coding. So I'm saying, can you break that myth?
Yes. So first off, you can be in tech and you don't need to code. You can be in tech and you don't need to code. So I also forgot to mention, so marketing in tech is actually very important because people have not yet understood how to really market their tech, product, or they have not been
Yeah,
able to understand how to sell this particular product they have to people. So I think marketing in tech is actually very important, right? Having to learn the real way and the enticing way to attract people. So I'm going to break that myth. I, for one, don't know how to code, but I have some skills that I've been able to put in my team. And yes, because I understand that building a powerful team can help you grow faster, right? So we have our
Yeah,
CTO that
definitely.
is well knowledgeable in what he does. So if I'm the founder and I know I'm the one coding, I'm the one doing the financial, I don't think my team would grow. So I want to actually break down it. You could be a founder in tech and you are not the one coding. You could be a founder in tech and your own part is for you to manage the humans and the resources you have in your company, or sell your product properly so that more people can get to see what you're doing. So yeah, so that, for example, graphic designing, you don't need to code. All you
Yeah,
just need to do is
definitely.
pick your phone, look for an app that you understand the English that they've spoken there, and just start, designing, bringing your
Doing your
creativity
thing.
to place, and then that's it. So I think people need to start understanding that, and it will really help them a lot, so they don't really run away from tech.
Yeah.
You could be a graphic designer, you're earning millions. Your inspiration is what gives the UI UX person what to do, and the person now get to put it out there for people to get to see. So yeah,
There's digital marketing,
yeah, digital
and there are a lot
marketing,
of
there
things. Yeah,
is
project management.
a lot.
All
So,
right. Thank you very much for helping me to break that myth.
What role can the government and policymakers play to ensure that these digital inclusion initiatives by social tech entrepreneurs are being supported?
well, initially, when we were growing up, I would say, or when I started growing in business, I would say we don't usually need the government to be able to, do things. But I think now, especially as a social tech founder, I think it's very important for us to understand that we actually need the government here. Because if the government makes it easier, there are some policies they could bring in that could make it easier for us to, be able to run our businesses, right? And
Yeah.
I think one thing I would really, say that policymakers or the government in general can do is to, help us set up, centers, because I think those are the things that are lacking. You could go to a local government right now, you could not really point out a vocational center where people can just walk in to work. I was passing somewhere in Ikoyi in Lagos. If you're in Lagos, you know this place, so it's close to the passport office. It's a very long, tall skyscraper that is empty. And I heard that that particular building is in court. It's been in court over the years. Since 2009, I moved to Lagos. It's been in court since then. And I look at this building and then my body itches me, right? Why do my body itch me? Because I feel like that's the resource that is wasting. Imagine the government setting up that place and making it, a 1,000 naira per hour kind of co-working space, or maybe making it or making it a training center for people to come and learn vital skills. But that building is wasting. No one goes there. Same thing with places in Marina, CMS area. There are so many buildings there that are wasted. So if the government could look into using the resources they have already that they've left to while away, they don't need to bring in new money to start, working on new projects for people to come in. They can utilize what they have that they've abandoned and help us to, start getting accesses, because some people pay millions of naira for office space. And at the end of the day, you see them saying they've packed up or they can't pay their rent. But we actually have the resources in Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, mention places that are not being used. And that, imagine if the government can now, restructure those places and put it out to us at an affordable rate. We don't need not too much policies. We would pay because we are working to make money. We would pay for those places, but they should really make it subsidized for us. So I think if the government can look into those things, it will really help us out as entrepreneurs.
To know. So aside also from the fact of providing some of these resources, I believe that the government can also help in the digital inclusion journey by walking through these entrepreneurs. Okay, sometimes you see that leaving stuff for the government to implement, there's actually a lot of bureaucracy. But if we have people like yourself in the social tech entrepreneurship space coming into be, let's say, a third party, or
When the government is actually selecting people to sit in certain offices in the hierarchy of the government, they should actually start from the grassroots, because these are the people that actually get to utilize it, or they could set up committees of young people. They don't necessarily need to be ministers, or they need to start with those grassroots, create up committees where young people that are really liaising with people from these underserved communities, or people from the society at large that understand the pain point. You know, you can't put up committee of people that are very far away from the people that are suffering the problem, or very far away from reality. Someone that earns millions of naira talking to someone that doesn't even earn 1 naira at all. The person is talking from, he can make a lot of promises, and at the end of the day, these people don't understand. So imagine when you are putting up someone that is doing something for social inclusion, and then the person is someone that has a social tech startup, or the person has something the person is doing with communities. It's easier for the person to break into this community and say, see, the government has plans for you. All we need to do is, come together and keep making it easier for the government. But when you're bringing someone that doesn't really have a background, or someone that doesn't even pass through where these people are going through these problems. The person is just passing through. If you stay in Lagos, the person is still passing through the people that are begging on the streets of Lekki, that don't even want to change or this. The person is seeing life in a different angle. But someone that has to, walk miles to fetch water, the person still has to buy water, and the person is living in an area where he needs to buy water. He needs to trek miles because the roads are bad and there are no transportation to move the person, or someone that the drainage is so bad. I think it will be easier for those people to understand that, oh, okay, this person also goes through almost the same problem with me. So that means she's really talking to the government about helping us. And it's easier for the government to work, because when that person is sharing his or her pain, the government gets to see it in the person's voice, not when someone is suited up and, setting his hand, or trying to, speak in the way that is going to rub the government's back to understand. No, we need people that are going through those, that have interacted with the people going through that problem, for the government to be able to see that, yes, we need the change, the support, and, the movement to make this a better society for everyone.
Are there platforms, are there organizations, are there individuals that would help, to even the government to help to provide some of these tools? Could be good smartphones, or laptops, desktop, for them to work with, because I think this is a core aspect of digital inclusion. When once you don't have the gadgets to work with, you see that it could be a big hindrance to what we're trying to achieve with digital inclusion.
There are some organizations that are making this happen. And I think for us to be able to achieve the first 16 SDGs, we need to work with SDG 17, which is partnership for the goals, right? We need to start learning
Yeah.
how to collaborate in our country. We need to learn how to start collaborating. SUWK got to where it is today because of collaboration. Imagine me trying to set up a center that is training over 10 skills. I don't think I would have been even, you know, making a lot of money, or I would have been able to see tangible money to even create more opportunities for people. But
Yeah.
my team and I discovered that it is easier to reach our goals if we partner with people that also, there are a lot of people that say they do CSR. Now, let's channel your CSR into something good. That budget you brought out
Yeah.
for CSR, let's use it and train these young people. That is because we thought of collaboration, we thought of a collaborative ecosystem where everyone is joining hands together to make things work. You bring your skills, your resources, I bring my people, or I bring my knowledge, and we bring it together, and we are helping people to become better. Imagine saying that over 55% of young people are living below poverty line. That means there is a problem. If
There's a
55% of
problem.
whole country, the whole country, and they are below the ages of 35, and they are living below poverty line, what do you think they'll resort to? They'll resort to
Crimes.
either drug selling, or even doing the drugs, crimes. Imagine when the country is not safe. Just imagine that that thing just enters like 70%. That means you'll be walking, and you'll be holding your hands on your chest, right? So we've thought of how this is gonna happen. So some organizations are doing that, but we need more. We need more people to rise. We need more people to rise to come together, and let's create. This call, this call for social good is something we need to amplify. We that have the gadgets, that can afford the internet, let's start using our internet and gadgets to start amplifying the good of what is happening in the society. NGOs are doing it, social tech startups are doing it. Let's just start by even putting ourselves out there and telling people that, oh, okay, if you go to souk.org, you can hire a skill. that means you're taking at least one or two people off the streets. They're helping them make
Yeah.
money. Let's start by that. I think when we start using, when we that have the access and the opportunity and resources can start amplifying what is happening, I think it's easier for the
So
government to see that, oh wow, so something like this is happening. I'm very certain that if you tell the government that
that's with
there is
you,
now a new sector,
you and me.
yeah, it
You know,
starts
there's
with
this.
us.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, it's actually
So yeah, you've mentioned what you're doing. So let's say someone that can key into these initiatives of social good comes across our session in future. So how do you think someone can come in to help you to accelerate what you're trying to do with SUWK in pushing for digital inclusion and skill sets?
right now. If people actually want to, join the course, I think we start with more of organizations want being willing to accept proposals that come on their table, right? We've written a lot of proposals to some organizations to help out with, oh, okay, we are bringing in young people from underserved communities to learn. Those proposals have been on those tables for as much as 3 months, 4 months, 5 months,
Wow.
and no one has gotten back to us. I think if people start making it easier, oh, okay, at the moment, I feel like courtesy, it will really make things work faster. You don't still keep putting it that, okay, organization A is going to still reply, let's give hope. So it makes it slower for us to reach out to other people. But
Yeah.
if organization A reaches out like in 2-3 days and say, I don't think we can work on this, but when we're ready, we're going to call you. It's easier for you to move to organization B and C. It's easier. I think if people want to discuss, they should make it easier for us. Reach out so that we can reach out to more. And also, if they can't, they can also, push us, push us to organizations that can also help us refer. It could actually help us to, reach out to the right people. And people can actually,
Yeah.
join the course of helping us to, evaluate, monitor, train. We might not even be an organization, it could be individuals that have these skills. And who knows, the sector gets bigger.
Quite interesting. So if you're not able to go into the mission physically, you can go by enabling it. I think that's another angle to look at all of this. All right, so I just want to give
Yeah.
an instance. Let's say I'm your junior brother, okay, and I don't have a digital skill. I'm totally off the trend, okay, when it comes to the digital landscape. So what would you say to me to make me go get a digital skill or to get me skilled up or something? What would you say to me?
I'll tell my brother, young or old, it's never too late to start, right? Talent
Okay.
knows no bounds, and because it knows no bounds, it's moving at a pace. So it can, if the pace is fast and you're not moving with it, you're going to miss a lot. People are really. I'm so amazed to see 15-year-olds doing great things, and then I'm like, I would go back and ask myself, what was I doing when I was 15? Right? There are some skills that I would have actually, developed that I'm very certain that at my age now, I would have been known for something great, or maybe I would have created something that
Yeah.
would have really put Nigeria on the spotlight. Do you understand? So I think the first I'm going to tell my brother, young or old, is that you should just pick yourself up and know that at any moment, for example, let's even use Kentucky Fried Chicken. I heard that the owner was over 60 years when he started, or so, or thereabout. So at any age, you could start off something that is innovative, and then people will know you for it. Something that can, as long as that thing can, create impact. Because I feel like right now everybody's moving with the social impact, buzz and
Yeah.
all. So I think as long as what you're doing can create impact and help people, and also learn how to, give back, I think it will help. But the first thing is you need to start, whether now, and follow up
Tomorrow.
and move to people.
Yeah.
If we start
You just need to
tomorrow,
start.
we start today, we start next week. One thing I know is that you need to actually start.
Yeah. And it's never too late to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Choma. If you're still watching, this is Tech Rounds on Tech Build Africa, and it's been amazing having this conversation so far. And yeah, who said you can join the conversation? So you can drop your questions on the chat section, the comment section. Okay, we'll just pick that up. If you have any question for Choma or you want more insight on how to maybe connect with SUWK or digital skills you should go after, yeah, you can always bring that conversation down there. All right, so Chioma, will be going to the last segment of our interaction today, and this is actually the back-to-back fun games. So I hope you're ready to hop on this.
Let's go. I like fun
All
games.
right. All right. So if you could go back in time and witness any moment in the history of technology, when will it be?
If I go back in time and
Yeah.
witness, hmm, okay, I think personally or generally for people or just for
Personally,
me
personally.
personally. Okay, so personally, I think I would go back to utilizing the social apps that came out at a particular time on time. And I think for me, I would go back to as far back as 2009, 2010, when I started
And
knowing about Facebook and then also learning how to, type and use Excel. I think I would have, wanted to be more knowledgeable then and know how to utilize it properly. And I think maybe by now I would have been an expert in
mm,
or a pro of it. Yeah, I have good knowledge. I have my expertise in that part now, but I think I would have been more of
you would have been
an
more,
expert
yeah.
pro in what I was doing. Yeah.
Okay. Would you fancy being called a Texas? Do you fancy being called
Texas or what?
Texas? Texas, like technology. We have tech bro and we have Texas.
Well, people try to call me that, but I don't mind. If you call me that, I would answer you, but I don't really put it as a thing that because if you go to my
Okay.
social media, I see people putting it there, Texas, tech woman, but I don't think it's a thing for me.
All right. So what's your favorite sport?
Favorite sport? So funny, but I think running.
Oh, just by yourself or with a group of persons? You love running solo.
With I think the only time I love it is doing inter-house sports for my younger brother. So anytime we go for my younger brother's inter-house sports, I'm always representing my younger brother, and I think I'm always among the first to the second, runners. So I think for me that's like my
Wow,
favorite thing to do.
that's interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next one, media famous or low key?
Yeah. Can there be a blend of both? There's no blend of both, though. Because okay, so for example, I feel like it's important to understand that you might want to be low key. But once Tech Build Africa calls you and say you're going to be having a talk today, you are no longer media low key anymore. People will know you. People want to dig deep. They want to know who you are. So I feel like it's a blend of both.
No, you would
When
love to
when
have a
when the
blend
need
of
for
both.
it calls, you answer.
Yeah, I totally understand. All right. All right. So the next one, what would be your favorite social media platform?
What would be LinkedIn? LinkedIn actually. Recently, it became
Okay.
LinkedIn. Before it used to be Instagram, but I think LinkedIn.
Okay. All right. LinkedIn. A couple of while now, I've had people choose LinkedIn over other social media platforms. I guess it's easier to connect with people that are doing something similar to what you're doing or people you want to partner with.
Yes, yes, you're right.
Okay. The next one, traditional or continental dishes?
Traditional.
Hmm. African woman. Okay, if you're given an opportunity in an afterlife, would you choose to be an entrepreneur?
100% yes. Like, I can't even think about it. 100% yes. I would always be an entrepreneur.
Okay, okay. That's interesting. I think you love what you're doing so far. I think that's a sign that you love what you're doing.
Yes.
All right, so what's the next big tech trend that we should be looking out for in the next 5 years?
You see, the thing is, the tech space is very unpredictable, and there are some things that you just think of right now. Before, I used to think AIs, robots, so like when I was young. I think we've not yet utilized the whole AI trend so properly. So for
Yeah.
me, in the next 1 to 5 years, I think we should start looking at the explosive and innovative things the AI tech would start bringing out for us to see. And then the other thing again is that in the next 5 years, I think more social tech startups, the sector would have been, more popular, and a lot of people would, have come together and start seeing the need for social good. So I think in the next 5 years, we'll see a lot of social good startups, setting up and starting up.
Aside from building on SUWK, what other passion would you be pursuing?
Okay, so apart from Sook, I think another thing I have been able to do is, set up a community called the Growth Up Africa. And I've been able to, help entrepreneurs, especially women, access opportunities, funding opportunities, learn about entrepreneurship and how they can push their business, whether tech or non-tech, and also help people to, develop their plans, for funding and get ready for funding. So apart from so that's what I am building with my partner. So yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think that's how we wrap it up on that segment. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And
Okay.
yeah, before we draw the curtains, what are your last words before we leave the studio?
So my last words for everyone that is watching is that the social impact industry is now leveraging technology, and it would be very nice and amazing if we see people that have access to technology help us to amplify what we're doing, help us to reach more people and help us to show that we are here to stay, and you could actually reach out on our website www.sook.org. You can reach out on our Instagram to see what we're doing and look at the amazing stories that we are talking about of our talents, or beneficiaries as we call them, and what they are doing. So if you are here right now watching, just know that everyone, we all need to come together to amplify the good work we're doing, and your support for every repost, every patronage on our marketplace and all would help us to reach more lives and reach more underserved communities across Nigeria and keep making the good thing happen. Yeah.
All right. That's super. Is that the point I start clapping? All right,
Maybe you
thank
can
you very
stand.
much. Yeah, for our
Yeah.
viewers out
Thank you.
there, thank you very much for those that have made our time from the busy schedule to be on Tech Rounds. And for those that will be watching the replay, yeah, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of value from this session. So, to get more of this, I would implore you to follow us on all social media platforms, our website, techbuild.africa, and our on Instagram, TechBuild Africa, LinkedIn, TechBuild Africa, on X, formerly Twitter. I mean, that's the caption now. Tech Build Africa too. Then you can always rewatch every session of video content about us on YouTube. And then yeah, you can also link up with Chioma Ukpabi too on a on her Instagram and LinkedIn too, in case you want to carry on with your dream of having a digital skill, or you want to support what she's building with SUWK. I think you should reach out to her too. Of course, myself, I've been your innovation cheerleader, Emmanuel Michael. Julia, we would say it was a great. Thank you very much, Shema, for joining this session.